Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cook County Small Business Source monthly webinar Wednesday. We're going to let you all come in and then we're going to get started. Looks like we're going to have a really great showing. This seems to be a very popular topic. So, ready to get started. Few minutes. Looking at the counter, looks like we're steady. Okay, I see it creeping up just a little bit. Oh wow, we're having a really good showing for this topic. I see we might have to do this again, you all. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hump Day Wednesday. All right, it looks like the numbers got a little steady. So, welcome everyone. My name is Dominique Gamble. I'm the Senior Program Manager for the Cook County Small Business Source. Again, for those who are just joining us, welcome to our monthly Wednesday webinar. I will be joined today with my colleagues, Mercedes and Elena, as well as Miss Sabina Loving from Allies, one of our wonderful, we call them business service organization, BSO partners. If you hear me say BSO to the Cook County Small Business Source, Allies as well as our other 11 partners. You'll hear me talk about it later. They assist us in providing wonderful resources to you all, our small business audience. So with that, I am going to get started. So you might be wondering who is and what is the Cook County Small Business Source. So this is just a brief overview of what I was just kind of alluding to in my conversation. The Cook County Small Business Source is a program that was set up in 2020, of course, during COVID. We know a lot was going on. Businesses were going under. President Pretwinkle was like, hey, we got to do something to help these small businesses continue to survive at that time. That's when we found out that the small businesses were the heart and breath of our ecosystem, right, of our communities. So we created this program. Out of this program, we provide support and grow. We help elevate businesses. We provide free resources. And when I say free resources, I know people don't really receive that. And then you'll come back and say, how much does it cost? They are all free. So our business advisors, by way of the organizations that we have partnered with, they provide free business advising, which would be one-on-one coaching by some of the best organizations located throughout Cook County. You do know their names. I'll show you their logos in a second. We have free resources on our website, which is located below cookcountysmallbiz.org. Feel free to capture that and visit us every time you need assistance. We have free events like this one, our webinar Wednesday, which we do the last Wednesday of every month. So you can log on to our website, go to our events calendar. We have that set up monthly where you can just join in a host of free events, take advantage of webinars, cohorts, and the like to help upskill your business to whatever needs in which you have. We have everything from marketing, as you see here, bookkeeping, how to use AI. I can't even think about it, which will be coming up. We have a ton of resources that your small business can take advantage of. And we have access to capital opportunities as well. Just a brief overview of our impact thus far. We do have some more updated numbers, but since 2024, we have provided over $67 million in grant opportunities to small businesses. We have served over 24,000 small businesses by way of that free coaching I was talking about and events. And we have reached over 106,000 small businesses. And that's through, us doing newsletters, door knocking, phone banking, and the like. So we've been out here. We got some great numbers. And if you're not already a part of the source, we hope that we can add you too. As you can see, I'm not going to go through all these demographics, but I'll just briefly go. We assist over 82% of our small business base identify as small business owners of color. We got some new numbers yesterday. It's showing here now 59% are women owned, but as of yesterday's numbers, we are finalizing those that I looked at. It says 62% now are identifying as women owned businesses. So we're getting a little shift shift, which is great. And 94% of our businesses identify as micro businesses, which means you have 10 or less employees. We do work with solopreneurs as well. Intro to entrepreneurship, we have those classes and cohorts as well. So if you are a small business owner or you're looking to get started, you can tap into the source, and we are here to assist you. And here's a great overview of the BSOs that I was talking about, our business support organizations, the 13 wonderful organizations that I knew you probably have heard of or seen at some point, or you might be working with them. So this is a great circle. We put it together so that you can see that we are all one big connected. I call us a source family. I'm not going to go through everyone, but you can see them here. We have Women Business Development Organization. If you are in a restaurant or catering business, we have Illinois Restaurant Association. We have Illinois Hispanic Chamber, Southland Development in the Suburbs, Chicago Minority Supplier, Chinese Mutual Aid, of course, Allies of Community Business, Berwyn Development. This is just a few of these are our BSO partners, but we also work with, we just onboarded 44, I'm sorry, was it 34, I'm sorry, not 44, 34 new referral partners that are local chambers throughout Cook County and the northwest and south suburbs to assist us in uplifting the source and informing people that we're out here to make sure that we are tapping into every small business needs. We also have support in over 16 languages. So we're not only helping people who are only English speakers, we also work in 16 other languages. So again, making sure that we are available to assist every demographic of small businesses who are all located throughout Cook County. We even have new, which I said, I don't know if I called out Builders Avenue, but we are now working to provide assistance for those businesses in the solar sector as well, and contracting. So if you know anyone in that area and they need a little help, you can direct them to us and we'll get them connected to Builders Avenue. We are more than happy to help them get going. And as you can see, our service model is focused on our network. That's kind of what makes us different. What's unique about the source, I'll put it back real quick, is if you work with Allies or Builders Avenue or WBDC, and say you need assistance with anything additional that maybe one of those organizations do not actually provide, which I doubt because they all provide everything. But if one of the organizations does not provide a resource for you, you're not going to get dropped. We do have the ability where we can actually forward you to another organization who they know does provide that resource. So we're not about dropping or you having to figure out who the next person is you need to talk to in your business journey. We have multiple advising sessions with our clients. You can work with any one of these organizations. You can go back to the advisor you were working with. If you need to become minority certified, we have certain organizations who handle that. If you need to be certified in the food industry, we have organizations who handle that. If you're a manufacturer, we have organizations who focus in on those areas as well. So I'm just naming things out there coming to the top of my head that I've seen different businesses need to be a little transfer for, and then they can come back and work with that advisor who you started that relationship with. So that's what makes us unique. We're not out here competing for businesses. We are truly here to help you get your business on the ground or uplifted and going to the next level. So we're definitely growing our client base. We're repeat clients. We are continuing to just build the strength of our network with our partners. We just brought in new advisors, as I said, new referral partners who are actually strengthening our network and our reach. And I'm just going to show you, here's a few of our impact stories. I was just joking with my colleague that Miss PSG Free, I am seeing her advertised all over Facebook. She is doing her thing. I bumped into her at an event last week. Miss Freedom Lee State of Mind came out of Berwyn. She is a wonderful business owner with body products. We have Miss Pink Panini. You might know her. She started as Pink Panini, but she also now in the south suburbs has a new venture called Crab and Cocktail. She has a restaurant. So, and she worked with the Southland Development Organization in the South Suburban area. So we have a lot of great things going on. If you are working with one of our BSO organizations, or if you have not, I hope to see you as one of our next impact stories. And with that, we have come to the end, and I just wanted to thank you and welcome you again to our Wednesday webinar. What you're seeing here is a host of all of our BSO advisors who are connected to the source. These are all of the organizations that you just saw me list right here on this screen. These are the faces of the people who actually do the work along with our marketing team. So as you can see, we are happy. We're one big source family, and we look forward to working with you. And with that, I am going to stop sharing and I will transfer it over to Miss Sabina Loving of Allies, who is going to start her wonderful presentation on bookkeeping. All right, Miss Sabina.
Thank you, Diamond. Uh, share. So, good morning. Good morning. My name is Sabina Loving, and I am a business coach here at Allies for Community Business. Um, and it's a pleasure to be before you guys today. And hopefully, I'll be able to share some information with you that'll help you advance your business to the next level. So today we're going to cover the subject of mastering small business bookkeeping, essential techniques for an effective financial management. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about our organization, our vision, and our mission. At Allies Up for Community Business, our mission is that entrepreneurs from any background can start and grow businesses that create generational wealth in their own families and communities. Our mission is to provide capital, coaching, and connections to entrepreneurs that create, sorry, I was advancing too fast. They need to create connections for entrepreneurs to grow great businesses that create jobs and wealth in our own communities. So this is our presentation overview. Today we're going to be discussing the definition of bookkeeping, the significance of bookkeeping for business. We're going to talk about a term called source documentation, and then we're going to discuss the type of records that you need to keep. And I may uh, title back and forth between defining what bookkeeping is, the importance of it, and certain transactions types and what you need to look for. I will emphasize repeatedly that it is not a choice whether to keep the books, it's a must for you to keep your books. Not only because it's required, but it also, if you keep good books, it gives you great insight into how your business is doing, and it allows you to make adjustments quickly so you can make the best decision for your business. So, my introduction to bookkeeping, what we'll talk about tracking income and expenses. So, all the money that comes into your business, or some, it's not necessarily income. The term is revenue. So, all the money that your business generate are revenues. Income is what you have after you've paid all the money you owe to others. So you'll hear me use different terms, and you'll have time at the end of the presentation to ask questions. So we're going to ask that you hold all your questions to the end of the presentation. But effective bookkeeping involves tracking all income and expenses, providing valuable insights into the business's financial health. It is the foundation of financial management. Accurate bookkeeping forms the foundation for effective financial management, helping the business make informed decisions. So you got all the information you need when you have a good set of books. Financial, well, what is bookkeeping? So bookkeeping involves accurately recording all financial transactions to ensure transparency and accountability within a business. Monitoring uh, financial health through bookkeeping. The business can track their sales and expenses and overall financial health over time. Tracking transactions. It is essential to track all transactions, including sales, purchases, receipts, and payments for effective financial management. Small business bookkeeping provides a foundation for operating a successful small to medium-sized company. Um, the role of a bookkeeper, recording financial transactions. So bookkeepers' responsibilities are to uh, record accurately daily financial transactions, which is essential for maintaining the integrity of your financial records. Managing your accounts payable. So for accounts payable is for the people that your business owes or your obligation to pay. A bookkeeper will manage payables efficiently, ensuring that all financial obligations are met and on time and accurately recorded. Bookkeepers play a crucial role in financial reporting and compliance by maintaining accurate and up-to-date financial records. The importance. Why is bookkeeping important, people think? I don't know where how much money my company made. I have this conversation with people all the time, or how much revenues we generated last year, or what my net income is. I have to get my tax return. That should not be anybody's, any business owner's answer when somebody is asking you how much money your business made. You should know, and you should be able to log into a system and see what revenues you've generated year to date and what uh, a possible uh, a trial P&L looks like. So you should have some kind of concept, idea if that question was posed to you today. So if it allows for informed decision making. Accurate bookkeeping supports informed decision making by providing essential financial data to business owners. Like I said, what did you generate in revenues last year? Effective cash management, flow management. So your cash flow is monies in and out of your business, money flowing in and money flowing out of your business. Knowing what your cash position at any time for any reason is important, because if you can see what your cash flow looks like, you know how much liquidity you have if you have to start selling off assets or investments or something for some cash emergency. So you really need to be aware of what that means. Effective cash flow management ensures that the business has enough liquidity to meet their obligations and pursue growth. Tax compliance. Good bookkeeping helps businesses comply with tax regulations by maintaining accurate records and documentation. Documentation is key. So, although a lot of businesses today use electronic means, forms of payments, or forms of paying their bills, your bank account alone will not tell the story. Providing your bank statements will not tell the entire story. That's why you need some kind of bookkeeping system in place. Clear booking keeping provides a transparent view of the business financial status, facilitating better financial planning. Do you want to scale your business? If you want to scale your business, accurate bookkeeping and consistent, timely financial reports is going to help you do just that. It provides financial clarity, insights into the financial health of your business. Maintaining accurate financial records allows the business owner to gain clear insights into their financial well-being. And it facilitates strategic decision making. Good bookkeeping supports I'm trying to move this. Good bookkeeping supports informed decision making, guiding business towards growth and success. Budgeting. Just like you have a household budget, everyone should have a business budget. And depending on the tool you use or whatever mechanism, just like you can use Excel, if you don't have a formal bookkeeping system, you need to have some kind of bookkeeping system. But just like you have a household budget, you should also have a business budget. Budgeting allows you to anticipate growth. uh, it allows you to anticipate changes in your monthly expenses. You can increase it by 3% over year if you're doing some forecasting. So you want to estimate, and then at the end of the year, you can go back and look how well you budgeted versus what was your actual expenses. And then if it's over or under, you're able to adjust your budgeting to match what actually happened or anticipate changes in staff, changes in revenue, and all those items. I want to move. Okay, tax compliance. Importance bookkeeping, importance of bookkeeping when you're trying to comply with your tax responsibilities. Good bookkeeping is critical in maintaining organized financial records, especially during tax season, and to ensuring compliance. I know most businesses will file an extension because they're just not prepared, or they haven't kept their books throughout the year to be able to give whoever's preparing that tax return clean records so they know exactly what they're reporting is is true. That means that you know exactly how much money you made, how much money you spent, and what was your net income. All of that is needed. If you buy equipment, you should have, especially the equipment that is expensive. That's important to for your taxes because you need to know how much you pay for that equipment, how much you are able to uh, expense in the current year, and how much you have to carry over through the useful life of that asset. If you buy a car that you're using for your business, you need to know how much you paid when you bought the car, how much you're paying in interest in that car over the year, because all of those things equal tax deductible expenses for your business and thus can reduce your tax liability at the end of the year. Tax compliance is very important for self-employed individuals because most likely, unless you're paying an estimated tax payment, you're going to have a hefty tax bill at the end of the year. So you want to make sure that you are spot on with what your real liability is. But a rule of thumb is that you should be making estimated tax payments, so you don't have to worry about um, a outstanding large bill on to the taxing agency, the federal or the state, at the end of the year. Uh, Again, importance of bookkeeping. It helps you avoid penalties and fines. If for any reason that you understate your taxable income, then you're subject to penalties and fines for a misstatement or overstating or understating your tax liability. So that's why you want to have accurate records, as accurate as you can. So if it's not intentional, but it's your responsibility to know what your expenses are on a yearly basis, monthly basis, and be able to substantiate that if for any reason that you're challenged. And also, it reduces risk for audits. Keeping precise financial records reduces the risk of audits by taxes authority and provides peace of mind to the business owner. And this is the biggest thing that business owners worry about: taxes. So we talked about taxes. Let's talk about source documentation. So what is source documentation? Um, a purchase order can be source documentation, a canceled check, a invoice, source documentation for, let's say the money you're claiming that you earned in the previous year. You should have an invoice or some kind of documentation showing what a customer paid you for, the details, the date of that transaction. All of that is source documentation, and that means it can be tied back or traced back to a particular transaction. So keeping source documentation is very, very important. And you should always, it does not have to be in paper form. If you have it in electronic form, or if it comes in paper, you can scan it in somewhere. But making sure that you have documentation to support all items of income and expenses is is not a want, it's a necessity, and it's required. Main importance of bookkeeping. Maintaining source documentation is again essential for accurate bookkeeping. Ensuring transactions are recorded properly and can be verified. How can you prove it? Trust but verify. And that's how the taxes authorities look at it, or anybody else that's looking at your financials. If you want a loan from a bank, and they question some portion of your financials, you should be able to pull up a document and verify it without any uh paying points or having to dig or request a copy of documentation from a third party. It's your responsibility to have this. um, Compliance and verification. Keeping records of source documentation is vital for the compliance with tax regulations and for and for audit purposes, helping businesses stay accountable. Okay, types of source documentation. What what is called invoices? Invoices serve as a formal request for payment and provide detailed information about goods and services rendered. Receipts. Receipts. If you go and buy something from any retail store, they should provide you a receipt. So if you bought something, supplies for your business, you should have a receipt, a sales invoice, or something showing what you bought, the day you bought it on, and then the business purpose. If it doesn't, you need to make a note on that particular receipt to say what the business purpose was. Your bank statements, they summarize uh, transactions in your account and provide clear overview of financial activities. But what your bank statement is not going to do is give you enough detail to tell you. It might show you a transaction happened on a particular date, but it's not going to give you the detailed description of that transactions. That's why the other source documentation is required. And then contracts. Contracts are legally binding agreements and outline the terms of a transaction between parties. So if you're in the construction business, or you're in some kind of service business, and you enter into a contract with a customer to do a particular job or a particular task, that should be detailed in your contract, and the terms of that contract will be clearly written out. That's another piece of source documentation. Importance of source documentation. Again, substantiating your transactions is essential to providing the validity of transactions during audits or disputes, providing necessary evidence. Maintaining source documentation enhances the integrity of record keeping practices, ensuring accountability and accuracy of financial data. Proper source documentation helps organizations comply with accounting standards and regulations, minimizing the legal risks and penalties the business will be subject to. Types of records to keep. Let's talk about that. So, financial statements provide a summary of business financial position, including assets, liability, and equity. So, it shows us how much money you had at a given period of time. It shows the financial statement will show what assets you own and what liabilities you owe. So if you have a loan, it will your liabilities will show that. If you have assets such as building and property and equipment, that is all contained in your financial statements. And then equity. Equity means what you have vested in that company and cash that you have not taken out of it. So not only will it show you certain financial statements, and there's several financial statements you can access with proper bookkeeping systems, but your balance sheet will show you your assets in order of liquidity, your liabilities in order of they have to be paid, whether they're short-term paid in 1 year or paid a longer period of time. So they're long term, but how quickly those liabilities have to be paid, how soon they have to come out, and then the equity that's in your business. So that's net income or investments by the owner or owners. They have not taken out of the business. They have not taken the cash out. They're letting it accumulate. So those are some important terms, but your financial statements contain all that information. So if needed, if you were going to buy a building or uh, obtain a loan from a bank or financial institution, your financial statements will tell them all they need to know to make a decision whether to lend to you or not. So income and expense reports. So that's where we talk about profit and loss. So the income and expense reports will show how much income you've earned in a given period and how much of that income you had to pay out. Income and expense reports help track revenues and costs, aiding in effective budgeting and financial planning. Payroll records. So that's another key record that you need to keep, and you need to keep payroll records for a period of 4 years at least. But they are essential for managing employee salary and ensuring compliance with labor laws and tax obligations. Payroll records are important, essentially, to businesses that have employees and they're withholding income tax from those employees because they're responsible for paying those income tax they withhold to the taxing authorities. And failure to do that can be disastrous, or failure for a third party that you hired to do that can be very critical to your business's survival. Tax documents. Tax documents are crucial for filing returns accurately and on time, preventing legal issues with the tax authorities. Financial statements, we just talked about that. So there are uh, a balance sheet. The balance sheet provides a snapshot of your company's assets, liability, and equity at a specific point in time, helping you assess the financial stability of your company. The income statement summarizes a company's revenue and expenses over a period, showing profitability and operational efficiency. Cash flow statement. The cash flow statement provides insights into cash inflows and outflows, highlighting the liquidity and cash management practices of a business. Back to payroll records. Payroll records. They employers must maintain records that accurately document employees' wages to ensure transparency and accountability in payroll processing. Tax withholding records. Accurate records of tax withholdings are crucial for the compliance with federal and state regulations, preventing legal issues. and for benefit administration. Employers should also keep records for employee benefits to ensure that all eligible employees receive their entitled benefits. So let's talk about record retention. Importance of record retention. Understanding record retention is crucial to the compliance and effective document management in the business. And various documents have various retention requirement periods. So, based on the legal and business requirements. Retention is important to know the retention period because of space management, whether the space is physical space or electronic space. Keeping records that you may no longer need and clearing up space that you'll need for a later time is important. So you should understand what the record retention period is for certain documentation. And then once that documentation is no longer needed, you need to make sure that you're properly disposing of your records because not only do a lot of records related to your business will contain probably identifying information on your clients or yourself, and they may be subject to the risk of identity theft. So you want to make sure that you're properly destroying records that you're no longer required to retain. And so here are some general retention guidelines. Tax record retention. Business should retain tax records for at least 7 years to ensure compliance with regulations. Okay, so 7 years you need to keep your business tax returns. And the general rule is that after 7 years, whatever information, if they have not come back and audited you, then after 7 years you should be clear so that those tax records would no longer be needed. Uh, they say 7 years, but my rule of thumb is I keep them for at least 10 years and then I get rid of them. Payroll retention records. Again, payroll records must be kept for a minimum of 4 years, supporting compliance and accurate financial reporting. Compliance importance. Understanding these retention guidelines help businesses maintain compliance and avoid potential legal issues. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce to you some do-it-yourself bookkeeping software. And then I know for some business owners, they're not comfortable doing that, but you can also enlist the services of a bookkeeper or an accountant and also have them give them access to your bookkeeping system so it's easier for them to pull reports or review. It depends on what your budget is for that kind of service or that fee. But uh, these systems allow businesses to connect their bank accounts directly to the system where they can pull them in and you can review them as often as you like. One very, very important piece when you have these systems, you absolutely must on a regular basis go in and make sure um, that you are reviewing the transactions that upload to your system. Make sure that you are running reports. So your balance sheet, your profit and loss or statement or income statement, and your cash flow statement to make sure that it looks right to you. The other thing that is common that people will sign up for these systems and never look back at them. You have to. You have to because even an outside third party don't know what your regular normal business activities are as well as you do. So you should make sure that everything is being categorized. If anything comes up in your bookkeeping as uncategorized income or uncategorized expenses, it's going to require you to take a look at those transactions and make sure that they are being categorized correctly in your chart of accounts and in your bookkeeping system. So the software that we work with the most is QuickBooks. So QuickBooks offers user-friendly tools for small business. We recommend it. Um, and there are subscription fees. So depending on what your transaction needs are, if you're invoicing, if you have payroll, if you are, doing you have independent contractors that you hire, or depending on your needs and functionality of the system that you use will determine the cost. But generally, they have low monthly costs, and like I said, add-ons will be extra. So depending on what particular needs your business has for bookkeeping, those monthly fees or subscription fees can change a little bit. And then there's Wave accounting. Wave, it was a free option for a very long time. But they have kind of woken up and decided that they were giving out a useful tool for free. So now there's a $16 subscription fee, and they actually just did that at the beginning of the year, where it used to be you could just do everything you could do in QuickBooks that was a subscription based in a way for free, but that's no longer the case. There does have a free option, but you will not be able to upload or automatically upload your financial transaction under that free option. And then there's Zoho. That bookkeeping provides comprehensive features for invoicing and expense tracking. FreshBooks is a great service uh, for service-based business needing invoicing solution. And Zero is ideal for business requiring strong inventory management. So depending on your business type, your business model, different bookkeeping systems may work better than the other for you. And I would tell you to take some time to determine which one will be the most beneficial for your business. Okay, so back to documentation and retention. So depends on certain things uh require that you keep records longer. So some of those documentation, indefinite documentation retention should be for documents like your incorporation papers, your property records, um, and indefinitely for legal and business purposes. Property records should be maintained as long as you own that property until it's disposed of. But if it's an investment property that you sold and you sold under certain conditions, you may have to keep that record forever, or some kind of form documentation, or stored on a hard drive electronically somewhere in case some legal issue comes up and you need to um, support the disposal of that particular piece of property, or be able to prove up what you had invested in the property, what part of any gain or loss that you were entitled to. So that's why those they may have to be kept indefinitely. And then evaluating document needs. Business owner must assess which documents necessitate prolonged retention to ensure compliance and protect their interests. Again, some documentation, such as if you had some kind of legal proceeding that pertain to your business, then you may have to keep that documentation longer or forever if you want to be able to support your position on a certain issue. Okay. Again, um, effective bookkeeping is essential for success of a small business as it helps it track its financial performance and compliance. Understanding bookkeeping. Business owners should understand the basis of bookkeeping to manage their finances effectively and make informed decisions. And I can't put a greater emphasis on maintaining accurate and organized record is vital to the financial health and can aid in the future growth and strategies of your business. And that is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, we will be glad to take them right now. And also, you can reach me at Allies for Community Business. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to A4CB at lonewell.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Sabina. I learned a lot. That was really enlightening for me. We do have a few questions that were coming through the Q&A during the presentation, and this is just a reminder for all of our attendees. You're more than welcome to drop in Q&A, and we will answer those live now, or you can raise your hand and we'll get to you in the order of questions and hands up received. So first question that we have here is from an anonymous asking, if I take cash out of the business as the business owner, does my equity go down? And in correlation to equity going down, is that a bad thing?
I mean, no, equity is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're going to take cash out of your business, it is going to affect the owner's equity because it's cash that you've taken out. So the equity is a combination of what you contributed in capital, net income that you've retained and not taken out. If you take that out, then that's going to either in the current year from revenues, you have to record that as an owner's draw. So it depends, and then it also depends on the structure of your business. So either you're going to report less net income because you've taken that draw, and then therefore you're going to take the draw and then not go to your retained earnings at the end of the year. So you still have to report it, but if it's you're taking it from the equity in the business, then yes, it's going to reduce the owner's equity. But you don't have to take it from the equity, you can just take it from the revenues. And then again, you're going to have less net income in the current year. But you still have to record it. You just can't take it and just it be out there in limbo like nobody knows that the money's been made.
Perfect. These next two questions that we have kind of pertain to those do-it-yourself bookkeeping software that you had shared. So this one is asking, is Zoho just a tracking biz rather than an accounting system or full service bookkeeping system?
So it's a full service bookkeeping, but it's geared towards those people that have to have strong inventory management. So it has those tools where it is more geared towards that kind of business. If you have to record the number of parts you have or something like that, Zoho has those features that allow you to do that.
Perfect. This next question, it's asking for some particulars, so I will make the request for the anonymous attendee that submitted this. I would highly encourage you to reach out to Sabina following the presentation or do some research following, but they were asking if you could kind of share a little bit more about the particulars of the software on the short list that you shared. Are those all able to produce different kind of components such as balance sheets, profit and loss, and statements of cash flow?
So all of those DIY that I gave you as example, and that's just a small list of what's available out there, but all of them are able to provide you with financial reports.
Okay, we have quite a few more coming in here. Claudia is asking, and again, I'll preface Claudia, definitely encourage you to reach out to either Sabina or you can sign up for free business advising through the source. You can work with any number of our BSO business support organizations and very talented business advisors that'll kind of help you address your case. But they're asking, do you have any kind of sample charts of accounts for, in particular, home daycare businesses that you could point them to? Or is that something that these softwares perhaps might provide?
So all the software will have a chart of accounts, a preset chart of accounts. Now, depending on you and your business, the chart of accounts may not include every expense item you have. So you also have the option of adding more. But understand the chart of accounts generally run. So 100 would be revenue accounts, 200 they run like in a series. So 1 to like 500, but each account series is revenues or expenses. And then depending on your particular expense in a daycare business, you might have a food expense. That may not be necessarily on that chart of accounts, but you can create a chart of accounts in the expense category to represent the food expense. So it's all customizable to your particular business. And for your purposes, I would say QuickBooks or Wave because you're in the service-based business. I would use those. I know them much better than I know some of the other ones, but all of them have the same fundamental features. They have add-ons specific to certain business types.
This next question is asking from Fatima, if they take money from one of their businesses and invest in a separate business, how would they record that?
So if you are taking money from one business and you're doing it to invest in or do a capital contribution to another business, make sure that you are first uh, detailing that transaction. So make it as detailed as possible. So it could be an initial investment from A4B C company to A4C company on behalf of owner or principal, whoever your name is. But that should be in that transaction so that transaction can be traced back, and that's your proof that you've made that investment, but you have as much detail. It has to be a traceable transaction. When we talk about source documentation, that's what we're talking about.
T- Two more here, I would say. Felipe is asking, are taxes still due on retained earnings?
Retained earnings, no, you've already paid taxes by the time they become retained earnings. That's what your net profit or your income was. So you should have already paid taxes before you retained earnings anyway.
Perfect. This next question, Sabina, you can tell me if it is applicable to bookkeeping or not.
Sure.
Mansa is asking, how do they find competitive price distributors, local and international? That might be more of a supply chain question
Yeah,
to me.
it's a
Yeah.
supply chain, and but the quick answer is Google is your best
Yes.
friend. Google it. And AI is out there now, so it's really bad now, so you can
Yes.
generally find it.
And I'll office, also share our business advisors, which you can access for no cost if you're a Cook County small business owner or entrepreneur, even just getting started. We highly encourage you to reach out, sign up for that on our website, and they can work with you hand in hand to address your particular needs and situation. Okay, just a couple more here, and then I see we have a hand up, so we can go to you to close that out. But Irene is asking, she is an S corp. Is it better to give a bonus herself a bonus check, then take out on payroll taxes versus a distribution, which reduces the equity? They have taken a distribution in the past and received a Schedule K. That might
So
be, yeah.
no. So luckily I know that part too. So if you're an S corp, you're earning your income. So any income that you earn in a particular year is going to be reported to the owners of the S corp on a K-1. Your distribution, if you're taking money out of the business, the distribution has already been taxed when you reported that income. So that should be tax free. You're just reporting that you're taking it from the earnings of the company. Therefore, it's going to reduce your basis in that S corp. So what you have invested in the S corp is going to change your owner equity. Depends on how you want to see it. Just depends on how the business is structured. But you can take a distribution as long as you can't. You take distribution from the retained earnings that you have. So therefore, you're not going to be taxed on that. Payroll taxes, I always suggest if you have any kind of business, if possible, set up a payroll so you can pay yourself. So therefore, you're paying taxes throughout the year through that withholding, federal tax withholding. But keep in mind, if you're just trying to pay yourself a little bit at the end of the year, wherever that S Corp is, so through the K-1, you're still going to pay taxes. You just have to determine how you want to pay them. Do you want to pay them at the end of the year or throughout the year? Because there's really no legitimate way to delay or not pay taxes as a business owner. You're going to have to pay them one way or the other. So now later, you just have to figure out how you want to pay them.
Perfect. Then to close out the Q&A, we have this really great question is asking, how do you advise as a business coach someone to start if they kind of historically have not been the best with keeping up or maintaining their bookkeeping?
Hire a bookkeeper.
Perfect. Okay. And with that, I see Jenna, you have your hand up. Let me find you here. If you would like to come off mute, I'll give you that opportunity now and you can ask that directly. And this will be our last question that we're taking. Jenna, if you have your question, you can answer or ask it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm interested in grant to help finance me.
Hmm.
How do you go about do y'all have that kind of do y'all have that kind of program?
Well, I mean, there's often grants are announced yearly, depending on what quarter of the year is and what the initiative is of our federal and local governments. But grant funding at alone is not a good funding strategy for a new business. Now, where there are grants, there's go to uscommerce.com. They will give you a list of grants that's available, but you have to qualify. And most of the time, even if they're announcing grants, they want that business to have already made some kind of money. But there are, I
Okay.
mean, if you look hard enough, I'm sure you can find some. It's just going to take you doing some research. That's
Oh, okay. Can I
all.
have a copy of this presentation that you gave us? Can you send it to my email?
Yes, and I think we'll end that on that note. Jenna, so thank you for your
Okay.
questions. Um, Thank you everyone for coming out and attending this webinar today. And we will be sharing this webinar recording to all attendees, all registered attendees, as well as the presentation deck that Sabina put together and so expertly presented for us all today. So you will receive that via your email. You can also watch the recording on our YouTube channel for the Small Business Source. The Small Business Source, again, is a resource for all Cook County entrepreneurs, small business owners. We highly encourage you, and I also dropped the links for this in our chat, to go to our website. On our website, you can sign up for free, no-cost business advising with business coaches and advisors such as Sabina at Allies for Community Business. We have a great network of organizations all throughout Cook County, and they are here to help you. So I always tell people to check that out. If you are looking for other opportunities such as funding, resources, events, different resources such as bookkeeping, software like Sabina shared today. We also had that listed on our website as well. So with that, I want to thank Sabina for your
Minute,
time
Mercedes,
tonight.
before you
Yes.
close out, hold on. Thank you for that wonderful close. I do want to thank Sabina for joining us on today's call. I know we're a little bit over, but I just wanted to touch into Jenna's quick question. As Mercedes is stating, we have a lot of wonderful resources here with the Cook County Small Business Source. I am in agreement with Sabina. We do strongly suggest don't put all your eggs in a grant basket because grants are not guaranteed. So we do have that free business coaching to help get you set up so that you can apply for grants, but also be able to qualify for their if any additional access to capital opportunities. However, a lot of our business organizations are hosting cohorts for new up and coming businesses that will allow you to have some startup capital. So if you would like to look on our events page for that or tap into, again, as Mercedes was stating, sign up for coaching under the source, you can take advantage of that opportunity. You and whoever else might be available on this call. We do have cohorts for startup entrepreneurs, and you can get some startup capital between $5,000 and $10,000, which is a great opportunity. So, with that, I just wanted to give you that information, let you know what else is available to you. So, I thank you all again, as Mercedes said, for joining us. Mercedes, did you have anything additional?
No, I think we're all good.
All right, Sabina, did you have anything?
No, just thank you for having me. And it's been a pleasure meeting you guys. I look forward to working with you again sometime soon.
Wonderful presentation. I so greatly appreciate you joining us. And again, I know Mercedes jumped in on closing us because we're running over, but I just wanted you to tap in. We've done presentation with banks before, and I just wanted to call out how businesses need to understand that the type of accountant that you have who does your bookkeeping really matters. You don't want the accountant that's trying to save you money because when it comes time to you trying to qualify for loans, you're going to have a big loss. Did you want to speak towards that? Because I think a lot of people go to those accountants that say, hey, I can give you $10,000 cash back. But then when you try to sit in front of a banker, you find out you mess yourself up doing that.
I can. So, as a business owner, and just common sense would tell you that if you're not making any money and you come to my bank, I'm not going to give you any money. Especially if you've been in business for some time and you're showing consistent loss. It shows you that you're not a good business if you are in business. So I would say beware of, and it doesn't have to be accounting, it can be a tax preparer that is promising you to get you large sums of money back. Because if you're a business owner, most likely, if that's all you do, you have not paid anything into income taxes. So I always pause when people tell me that this is all I do. I'm a business owner, but I got a tax refund. And then my next question, what was it made up of? If you paid nothing into it, you should not be getting anything back. And if you get something back, you need to question why you're getting something back when you know you haven't paid. You have to think, um you can't have tunnel vision and think about right now. You have to think about the long game. And if the long game is for you to grow your business, then at some time you're going to need capital to grow. A banker is going to look very strategically at your taxes and what they say. And if they don't match up, you can have made $100,000. But if every year you're showing a loss on that $100,000, you're not a candidate for more capital. So be careful and make sure that you're using somebody that operates in integrity. Nobody wants to pay more taxes than they have to, but it has to make sense. So just use common sense.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I wanted to call it out because I know this is the right audience to have that conversation, and I wanted to make sure that no one got caught in that net. So, thank you for speaking towards that.
And then
Um,
I would also want to give them a resource. So you want to make sure whoever you're working with is reputable. The easiest way to do that is go to irs.gov and choose a tax professional. So those with credentials are out there and haven't had any, are not disbarred from the IRS or anything like that. You might want to Look for them people, not somebody told you're gonna get the hookup. Those are not the right ones. Okay.
Happy, so that, I'm gonna use that too. I'll put that in my back pocket. Thank you for sharing that, Sabina. We don't want the hookup. All right, we want to make sure somebody gonna keep us on the right, straight and narrow trail on these businesses. Thank you so much. With that, we will close. We thank you all for joining us. We're sorry that we kept you over a little bit more, but I think the conversation was really worth it. We got a lot of great information. I learned a lot. I hope you took notes. Again, if you would like to sign up for the Cook County Small Business you can join us at Cook County Smallbiz.org. Cook County Smallbiz.org. I know Mercedes dropped it in the chat, so you can check us out there. If you want Sabina, she did give you her information, so feel free to find her there as well. So with that, we're going to say thank you and goodbye. Join us next month on our next Wednesday webinar. The last Wednesday of every month, we have good content. If you're not signed up with our newsletter, sign up so you can keep up to date with everything that's coming out of the source, new grant opportunities, access to capital, events, and the like. Mercedes does a great job on that newsletter, you all. So definitely tap in if you're not already. So with that, we hope to see you next month. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. See you all.